Andrea, did you get a chance to?
I think that was an incredibly frustrating and undeniably a failure in my experience. And it was partly because I was asked to be a facilitator, and I had no idea where faculty were coming from. I thought they were bought into this idea from the get-go, and that they valued learning goals. And you know, if that's what you're coming in prepared to do, and you're a postdoc who has no authority, it was very challenging. And I'd say the majority of our faculty, especially those who teach these intro courses, there's no incentive at all, nor is there any departmental pressure for them to have a shared curriculum, even though 95% of what they teach turns out to be identical. And I think one of the most interesting things that's emerging, and we're only seeing it now, and maybe I'm the only one seeing it, and I've not been particularly effective at communicating it, is that we're seeing these disconnects between what our faculty expect students to come away with in the major and where they're supposed to be learning that. Mm-hmm. We also don't have a typical sequence of courses that students go through in the major. So right now I'm actually working on a report in one of our courses that's split between students. This is the first upper level course they have, and a significant number of students who this is the last upper level course they have. And the challenges in teaching that, and the skills the faculty member wants students to go away with, and where are they supposed to be learning that in this class or any others. So that was probably way longer than you wanted to know, but I think that this is emergent from these kind of discussions, no matter how unfruitful they may seem at first, and hopefully it will be productive in the end. But yeah, having a facilitator who can facilitate effectively and having people come to the table, I guess, with some investment in the process seems like very critical. Yes. Maybe it's really obvious, but those seem to be the first two things.
I mean, I guess I would say, like, you had the experience of trying to do it with the intro class, and you did that working group like over the summer.
We learned a lot from that. Basically, we had to pay faculty to come because they wouldn't come otherwise.
But then Leilani, for the environmental working group, it seemed like there was enough momentum behind the faculty that in geology that was able to, she was able to at least establish learning goals.
So that was they're establishing a new major.
A new major, and the faculty were very invested in like making it happen.
I remain critical because I've tried to work with a faculty member who was involved in that, and that has it's not been negative, but it's not been particularly productive.
Who else?
EEB.
Well, we're as dysfunctional as the rest of them.
Oh, well, I don't.
No, we win. No, I think we tried actually once to get people to write down learning goals, and then come to a meeting and at least try to talk about what they are, because people actually didn't really know what they had them in their minds, sort of, but they never really written them down and thought about them, and it didn't go anywhere. Partly because no one came prepared, so we talked about other things. And in our faculty meetings, we never ever talk about substantial issues.
Can you clarify, are these meetings part of regular faculty meetings?
No, they're separate.
Those are separate.
From bag lunches. Valerie?
Education. So we have a teacher preparation program, and that seems like it should be something that's coherent and continuous and builds upon itself, and it never did. Every single instructor was like, every methods course, even in the science, secondary science certification, was pretty much teaching everything in their little science methods course. And so it's just like, the way it goes everywhere else. So this bothered me for a really long time until that NIMSY funds came up. I said, look, if I pull $2.5 million into this place, maybe we can start talking. And so we got the money in, thanks to Mike's help, and we brought this funds in. And the faculty had to start talking because there was money involved and there was a promised endowment involved. And so what we started to do is we started having these things called curriculum meetings. and they were designed for us just to first share what are you doing in your course, just so we could have a sense, and like what are your key activities that you do in class that are the ones that work every time, and just so we could like get a sense of what needs to stay and what needs to change now that we start our new curriculum plan. So now, like, we all know what's going on in each other's courses at some much better level than we did before, but we are talking about it. We sat down for a whole summer, and the math group and the science group mapped out the whole trajectory of a 2-year program for where each goal is going to be met and what class it's going to be met in, all the way down to what activities, like, for example, one of the faculty is going to give up because it's not my class. So you can use this activity, which works really well with this kind of thing. Now, it's still in exactly, one of those, we're still working really hard on it, but with the advent of the master teacher who floats between classes, we have these master teachers who are working with us, and they float between all the classes. They know what's going on in all the classes, so they can maintain that continuity. Even though, the faculty member gets so bogged down with research, you show up, you teach your thing, but the master teacher keeps you on target of what's going on throughout the entire trajectory of that person's experience. And the student is in contact with the master teacher the whole time. It's going to work eventually better than it was working before. But we literally had to pull in those funds. And that was 8 years after I had already been here dismayed of the program.
You have to remember that grant was predicated on changing the curriculum, so there was also a reason to do that, right?
And like that was our whole idea. It wasn't so much that we thought the UTeach model was the model to adopt. It was just a stimulus for changing the curriculum and like overhauling, So that we did it. The discussions are happening, and it's just fabulous.
Anybody else?
That's the only part that can go up.
Okay, I'll start talking again. So it sounds like we've had some departments who haven't tried it all, some who have tried it, hasn't gone so well, and some successes. So I thought I could now talk about what we did in the physics department and how it worked as sort of a model of a fairly successful implementation. And then we could maybe also discuss like what of those things are transferable and what might not be. And if there are things that would be better, things that I didn't do that would be good to do in other departments. So I'll just give you a little background on the physics department so you can see like how this situates in the department. It's about 50 tenure-track faculty members and about 50 majors a year. The faculty rotate through the courses, which I think is important for how these
That's
discussions
50 majors
end up working.
graduating per year.
Yeah, 50 majors graduating per year.
There's about 250 majors.
Majors. Yeah.
Undergrad, graduate.
Undergrad.
The introductory courses use PER-based clickers, and then they have tutorials in the recitation section. And the SEI has transformed 2 upper division courses already. And even in the courses that we haven't transformed, sometimes faculty just spontaneously use things like clickers and tutorials. So,
Spontaneous clicker generation, right?
I like that. Yeah, so it's a pretty education research friendly department, I'd say, for the most part. And then, so what we did was we advertised these faculty meetings to the faculty at large with some sort of targeted advertisement to people who had been involved in the PER transformations in the past, or who taught these courses or taught the follow-on courses. And doing that, we got 19 faculty to participate in at least one of these meetings. 4 of them are PER faculty. An average of 9 people came to each meeting, and each faculty member came to about half of the meetings, average of 3.4 out of the 7 meetings. So the attendance was pretty good. And about 60%, that's a very rough number, of those participating had used some sort of PER innovation in their classroom, like maybe they'd use clickers. Yeah.
So maybe I missed this, but what was the stated goal of the brown bags?
So there were kind of 2 sets of brown bags, one in the summer and one in the fall. And the stated goal of the summer ones was to make learning goals, course scale learning goals for this classical mechanics math methods course.
Specific
For one course,
named specifically.
Yeah, for this particular course that we were then going to transform.
It's a sophomore level course. This one is a sophomore level course. The 2 previous courses that we worked on were junior level courses. So we went back down. It's sort of the first of the core major courses.
Yeah, it's kind of like the
Beyond
first
freshman.
real.
And in particular, this course, a lot of faculty just like it's been an ongoing issue for the department over the last, 15 years, like how to deal with this particular course.
It
Well, what
underwent.
does it mean to how to deal with it?
It's
So
the
the content, what content to include.
So
how
can
to
I,
balance.
a little brief history. The course is
First
not.
there was a big bang.
Right. So
That's our course.
after the freshman year, when I first arrived at Colorado, the third semester course was called Math Methods. And the idea was that students are taking calculus courses. It's a co-requisite for upper division physics courses, or a prerequisite, but somehow the students don't seem to connect what they learn in calc sequence with what they need for upper division physics. So that old Math Methods course was designed to be the bridge. It's the third semester course. And the first of the physics brown bag lunches that happened 7 years ago, maybe. When did you arrive? How long
It
ago?
was in January 2003.
2003.
That they were rediscussing this.
Faculty, I think Carl suggested we have brown bag lunches just to talk about education in general. So each week was about a different topic, and this particular course came up. Lots of faculty said it's still not working. Students go into upper division courses and they don't know this math. So the consensus, this was sort of independent of any PER involvement, the consensus was the way to make this work is you have to integrate the math with the physics topic. It doesn't make sense to teach math out of context of physics. So let's integrate the next semester course, which is mechanics, with the math methods, and we'll make a sort of a joint course. It'll run for 2 semesters. So instead of having math methods followed by mechanics, we'll have a math methods / mechanics course that runs for 2 semesters. That was the brilliant idea, and there was no research done. It just changed. The whole department agreed. There was a faculty vote, and so that happened 2003.
Well, probably implemented 2004.
Give or take. And that course has been going, and now faculty are getting together
Still
and
dissatisfied?
making
Yeah.
the exact same complaints. So this
So
is sort of
somebody
the-
will make a proposal to separate it. Ask ourselves to establish a firm foundation.
That'll be an
for the business.
educational innovation.
That was discussed.
That was discussed
It
in
was
this meeting.
discussed, yes.
So just to, so it was a draw for faculty just because there was dissatisfaction in how these courses were.
Right, it's pretty clear. I mean, for upper division physics courses, there are many mathematical expectations. Students should be able to do X, where X is some, Calc 3 or differential equation level skill. And of course they can't. Or if they can do the skill, they can't sort of see it in a fresh context. So this was the motivator for this course, and so I think that's why it struck everybody as an important one, because it's seen as a feeder to almost every upper division
That
course.
seems
Right.
like an important context, I guess. For
The irony is-
faculty
Motivating,
opinions
that's what I'm
and-
getting
Right.
Why do you wait to the third course? Why isn't it in intro?
Because intro is a 600 student class, of whom 30 are physics majors. So anything we do in that course has to be relevant to engineers and to terminal physics students.